Alright, so today I'm going to tell you the story of why I quit my PhD and joined the Korean military. Completely crazy transition from a world of beard and glasses and pure academia to shaved head, six-pack, running in the mud, being shouted at by 20-year-olds military service. The journey of the mind to the journey of the body, or like the philosopher's life as opposed to the practitioners. Very many ways to frame this transition, but essentially I made a decision to quit something that I was doing, and the message that I want to show you with this story is that sometimes quitting takes more courage. We live in a world where people are like, don't quit, never be a quitter. If you quit, you will never succeed. Always just go for it, never stop. And just, it could be your job, it could be whatever you're doing right now that you're not happy with. And I hope you actually realize that sometimes, quitting is the harder thing to do. And you can do it, and there is something on the other side. Right? Let's get into the story. It's about 2018. I finished, it's like September of 2018, I finished my master's program. And as a Korean male, I have two choices. Either I go to the Korean military, or I go to Italy and start my PhD in sociology. I had been postponing the Korean military for so many years. Well, since I was 18, but I was planning to go after the university, so at least 2 to 3 years I've been postponing it. And the reason I've been postponing it is because it was the polar opposite of everything that I thought I am. I grew up in England and in Europe, very free-spirited, liberal, do whatever I want. In Paris, I had this big beard and this long hair. I was kind of like a hippie, just like partying all the time, just saying whatever I wanted to whoever I wanted. And the idea of Korean society, a very structured, strict society where a lot of social expectations are put on people based on their age, and the army, most of all, where the state forces you to spend 1.5 years of your life just like in this crazy fixed structure. I mean, imagine if someone, like you're watching this now, imagine if someone just told you right now, okay, you're from Greece, you have to do 2 years of military service just because you're a dude from that country. Probably doesn't, like you can't feel it because it's not real, but you would be also probably like, what the hell? Even if you kind of wanted to do it, you'd be like, why am I forced to do it, right? And so it was kind of like the death of everything that I stood for, just this freedom, individual rights. And all my friends at the time were like, don't go, it's a complete waste of time, definitely not for you. What do you think I did? Of course, I was scared. I was scared because I didn't want to face the reality. I didn't want to face my fears. I didn't want to grow as a man and walk the path of discipline and mental strength and physical fortitude, and it's just all like, I was just like, why do I need to do this? Like, this is completely unnecessary. But it's interesting, right? And this is the key point, is that each time that I postponed the military, each time that I sent that letter to the Ministry of Defense, attaching my PDF, like saying, look, I am doing this master's now, look, I'm doing this PhD now, so I can't go. Each time I knew there was an inner whisper telling me, you're only postponing it where it's going to be harder in the future. And even more than that, it was like, this is actually what you need to do. There was that voice. This is the part of your character that is the least developed, and you need to go to there. You need to go through that. You need to stop running away. I kept ignoring it because I was scared, and I went to the PhD. So halfway through the PhD, right, we're like a year and a half in. In my other videos, I'll go on about the exact reasons, like why the PhD wasn't to my satisfaction. But basically, it was just talking about stuff. It was very much academic, just talking and analyzing without ever doing anything. And I was just like, I want to do something. And you might be sitting there like, why'd you go to a PhD then? Well, I just told you why, because I was running away from the military. So I was trying to make something like kind of useful and real and practical out of the PhD. So my research proposal was to make an app, right? It was like a business proposal. And of course, my supervisor was like, dude, this is like a business proposal. You want to make an app? Like, this is not a PhD methodology. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, what is this? Like, why can't I just do something experimental? If I was in a university in Denmark or the Netherlands, they would surely let me. Like, of course, it's an Italian education system, blah, blah. But of course, like, at the end of the day, there are structures for a reason. And trying to make an app as a methodology, trying to do a startup as my PhD proposal was a little bit too crazy, especially for Italy, right? So about a year and a half in, I'm waking up in the middle of the night, just like I'm not sweating or anything, but it was the weirdest thing, right? I would just wake up, like I would go from full sleep to just wide awake. I would just wake up and then I'll be wide awake. I wouldn't even be sleepy and I'll be staring at the ceiling, pitch black. I don't know what it was. It was just like I was so anxious. I remember telling myself, what am I doing here? Why am I doing this? I'm not enjoying it. This is not my path. I'm spending day after day after day in this thing that is not me. It's like I'm not going to be a professor. I'm not going to be a postdoc. I don't even enjoy this thing. Like, what am I even just doing here? And I remember I would just clench like my hands and my feet and my toes, like just curl, like just tense my torso, like just I would do that for like 5 to 10 seconds, just like freaking out by myself. And around the same time, I was leading a very unhealthy lifestyle of cigarettes, drinking, dating apps, like casual sex, and all this kind of things that were temporary escapes from the fact that I wasn't feeling great. Anyways, that's how I was feeling. And then around the same time, this back pain starts coming, right? So I'm doing squats the day before, and I think, oh, maybe the back pain is just from like the squat, but it didn't go away. And to a point, it just basically settled as a chronic back pain. And if you've experienced chronic back pain, oh my days, you know what I'm talking about. Like this, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. It's this nagging nerve pain that travels down your right leg, your left leg. It's numbing. It's so annoying. Got to a point where I couldn't even sit still for more than 2 minutes, and even standing in the same position for more than 3 minutes was so painful that I had to lie on the bed with my elbows like this. And it was probably the worst moment of my life, one of the worst moments of my life, thinking, oh my god, am I going to be like this for the rest of my life? Like, am I going to not be able to do sports? Am I going to not be able to have sex? Like, what has my life come to? I was on the verge of tears. That is the closest I've been to depression, was with that back pain in Milan. Then as Corona hit, that was like the final straw, right? Milan, northern Italy, was the first to get fucked, and I was just like, all right, that's it. That is literally a sign from God. I mean, I'd already decided with the back pain issue. Like, I was like, I'm out of this. Even though everybody was continuing and everybody was encouraging me to continue and yada yada yada, I was like, this is not it. And I left, alright? I came back to Korea. I knew that unlike other people, my other choice wasn't like quit the PhD and start a business or find a job. Like, it was like quit the PhD and go into the fucking military. Guys that were 9-10 years younger than me, telling me what to do, doing drills, being like humiliated, and like waking up at 6 every day, going on runs. It's just everything that I just didn't want. Now, looking back, I'm like, thank God I made that choice even then, and thank God that I went through that, because I value those experiences and the times and the stories and the friends and the experiences and the things that I gained from the Korean military. I think I'll have to do a video on that as well, but it's not just that standard like, oh, you got that discipline or whatever, like, because I don't think I'm like that much more like crazy disciplined than the average man right now. But there are probably a lot of things that I gained from the Korean military. One of the most important of which is the time, is the break that I got from that flow of just study, like master's, PhD, and just like that break. And if you resonate with some of these, and you also feel not aligned in your life with the PhD, in terms of the topic, in terms of the lifestyle, in terms of your passions, then I hope you have the courage to say, okay, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm ready to try something new. And I know it's a bloody scary decision. I know you're probably thinking about it over and over again, and for many of you the answer might be to carry on. But for those of you that think like, there's the inner voice that's like, yeah, I think this isn't my path, I need to quit, then I want to tell you, you can do it. You will know, and all the other people around you will probably tell you don't do it, but it's only going to strengthen your belief that is actually what you have to do. And if that's how you feel, then you can do it and you'll be fine on the other side. If you have any questions, jot them down below. If you want to know about the other sort of reasons and thought processes related to this kind of stuff, I'd be happy to help as well. Cool.